call to order at 4:04. First order of business is minutes. So could I get a motion to approve the attached minutes from the May 25th, 2022 meeting? I'll second. Okay. All right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. Approved. We'll go right on to item C, which is building committee website updates.
So no major updates to the website. On the homepage, we added a link to the video of the June 2nd presentation that we gave. But other than that, nothing huge. Ira and I were talking today, and we're going to schedule some time to go through it and update some language that's included in the communications from the Board of Ed newsletter going out.
Okay.
So more to come on that.
Yeah, we're going to deal with the Q&A because some of the Q&A is pretty old. So you might want to take a look at it. This goes back to pre-referendum.
We did that.
It was,
We did.
yeah,
We just
it
need
was-
to update it.
yeah, that was done prior to pre-referendum. So I thought we should give an update wherever we are today in the Q&A. So you kind of just take a look at that section. So I'm going to go through, then we're going to go through every page, see what's, should be just archived. This should be there, but it's not pertinent to what's going on right now.
How does it show up if it's archived?
Hmm?
How does it show up when it's archived? Does it show?
There's
up
an
to the
archive
public?
section.
Yeah. I know.
It goes way back to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
2004,
Original.
2014. So that's all freedom of information. You just put, you know, just leave it up there. I think we want to make, just update everything because there's a lot of sections in there that I didn't want to tweak it. I'll sit with Deb. We'll come back to the next meeting and recommend these changes. And then have a section that's more like current events, what's going on.
Can we go through?
That's what I'm saying.
I feel like the whole write-up that we went through on the Q&As.
I think we have feedback on it already.
Yeah, we have feedback.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we're
Yeah,
doing?
We did, and we made those changes, but I think there was just some other topics maybe that I wanted to include.
Yeah, you did get feedback on it. There's there's questions in there that are pre-referendum questions that probably don't need to take an archive them. And just say, here's where we are, what's going to be like now till the end of the year kind of stuff. More specific.
Any feedback or have you heard anything on the new financial section? Have you heard anything?
We haven't received too many calls about that or anything like that. So not too much feedback yet, but
Okay. All right, any other questions or anything else on the website?
One more thing that just to think about. Should we do an interview a little bit more about the construction manager, OHE? Kind of introduce them a little bit more other than we did the other one. So it's a short little word. You think that would be, since it's going to be a primary contact during this construction?
To go on the website, you're saying?
Yeah. I'm on
I
brochure.
think we can, right? That's, yeah, we can provide some information.
Yeah.
You know, now that we're starting to publicize names and those kind of things. And then I know we talked about this before, like pictures and things
Yeah.
like that, whether, how that's normally handled, just so people can kind of start to put faces to names. Before personable, and some more, some.
Make it more timely. Sure. And so whenever there's major kind of milestones, that's probably what you guys have, the milestone. I mean, I looked at the map, you know, timelines, and therefore putting something up. We want to just drive people to the website instead of sending a lot of paper out. You know, certain times newsletters are good to go out or having a web Zoom meeting, but there's going to be a lot of action going on. You don't have to put every nickel and dime thing there, but oh, this stage, you're going to see this going on. You're going to see, don't get nervous, this is happening here, kind of thing. That was the whole idea of the website, to make it more of a go-to on a daily, if they want, people want to see, just drive them to minimize phone calls and what's going on, kind of thing.
Probably something more found.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah, even like who does what, I don't think we really mapped that out, right? So what does the owner's rep do? What does the construction manager do?
We did that in the newsletter
We did that.
last week.
Okay, I don't know if it resides on the website though, so people are like, oh, I need
The
to reach out
newsletter
to somebody.
does, but we could,
I think it's on the website too.
Yeah, I think I can pull it up. I think we have.
Okay.
As a PDF,
We got lots track.
Newsletters on there's PDF, but I thought we had.
So people are looking for who to ask what questions. questions or who's
Yeah, no, that
responsible for what.
This is the last one.
I feel like
We
the
did on the
biggest
first.
Q and A would be like, when is groundbreaking, when is it gonna
It's
start?
the
When-
timeline
it's the
stuff,
timeline,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's there is where we did, a little profile on what, or who they are actually, when you go to their site.
Yeah, that's on the website, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
Yeah.
That was pulled off the first newsletter after the referendum.
This is all in chronological order. Q&A questions.
Yeah, these are the kind of the dated, the first 4 or 5 questions are pre-referendum questions.
I don't feel like it's a bad idea to maybe keep them up and then you kind of come down and read it in chronological, like.
I would reverse it. What's
or,
what's
yeah,
important to know
more
now,
recent, but not
go the other way.
so.
You're giving them the lead information, and they'll say, oh, this is all old stuff, and therefore they won't read the rest of it.
We could put it in categories, pre-referendum, current, pre-referendum.
That's why I think archiving it is. It's not pertinent to what's going on, and we want the newsletter to be kind of more, what's going on now and in the immediate future. It's your call.
But do we need to archive it or can we just keep it as kind of a scrolling? Like, here's the timeline, and kind of look at the questions and
I'm
then ask.
concerned people don't scroll anymore. You want to go to a page, they want to read a paragraph, a bunch of bullets and stuff.
You could have a link to the older.
Yeah, you can,
information, I guess,
absolutely.
So
If you
that
want
people
to,
don't see what they want.
if you hit the
Right on.
archive up there, you'll see all the stuff that's on pre-referendum.
I think we did more Q and A's in a newsletter, but I don't see them here.
Yeah,
So we just have to add
We
them.
can add those, yeah.
yeah, the last newsletter was all a big Q and A newsletter.
Yeah,
We talked about the 19.
yeah, I think so. We had all that. So we
Yeah.
probably would, yeah.
We did all the work. just it's
Yeah.
Not there, but it's there.
Yeah.
This is a reminder, this is all the big Q and As.
Thank you. As you get questions, let us know if you get like similar questions, and then we can just add it here.
Okay.
Because typically if you hear from a couple of people, it means that people are worried about it. So then we can put it up on the website and at least then say, oh, that's on the website, and you can send them there.
Okay.
You know,
So can we put these questions up?
yeah, so that,
Yep.
those are the ones that,
I know it sounds a little redundant, but I don't think it is because this is like.
No, I think this is the current.
Yeah.
Yeah,
These are the current issues, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this went out in the late spring. So it's within the last 3 months.
So probably every time a newsletter goes out, you want to look at what is going to carry over to. the
That's
next
right.
one.
Right.
And just kind of mash up the website a little bit more. Because people get the newsletter and might scan it and then it gets thrown out or whatever.
Right.
But the website is, more times we drive them to the website, the better.
Do you have an idea of traffic, Kevin? Can you get a count of, not that you have to report out now, but I'm just curious if we have an idea. Probably pretty slow right now, but once the trucks start coming.
Yeah.
Might be good to, get like an idea of baseline now versus
Yeah.
when construction starts. People going there for questions.
It'll be very interesting.
Yeah, you're going to see more communication activity once they start construction. Said last month, Devin,
That's July.
they'll send you up a right.
June 7th.
July 6th. Yeah, it's like. Three over the last month.
That's
Well, I can name a few of those.
Me too, I was just gonna say, I'm probably in there quite a bit too.
Some of those there for
Yeah,
people in the
yeah,
room.
you hear it all.
Yeah, probably half of those are from,
Yeah, this 16th.
Oh, yeah. 3:40 you need.
Oh, that's not too bad, 40. What was the big spike? What was the day?
That's, yeah, that's what.
15th.
The day after the last day of school.
We can also
The
refine.
day
right?
after the last day of
Yeah.
school.
Maybe because it got
Wasn't there
mentioned.
the meeting, a town meeting?
Graduation, we did mention it.
We did have
We have a
a
meeting.
committee meeting the 15th, and maybe the chair report could be linked to the website.
Wow, that must be, it's Meg, a chair report. Yeah,
The big-
I think
the
I
big
put
spike.
in something to sign up for the chair report.
Yes,
You did, yeah.
I did,
True.
Saw that it was at the end of the year
yeah.
communication. There we go.
I can track what pages people are looking at. Devin and I will work on this.
What's our most viewed page? Makes sense.
And then
Graphic
schematic.
design, look at that.
Wow.
And contact us. Well, project cost isn't bad.
Oh, you had a few visits. for sure.
Yeah. People even went to art.
They found it.
They didn't find it.
Yeah, a lot of time.
All right,
Thank you.
No problem.
so I guess for website updates for the next meeting, we'd be looking for these,
The updated questions.
Updated Q&A,
of the additional stuff in the newsletter and then anything that we're considering.
current activity. That's probably gonna be homepage activity.
Correct, yeah.
And whatever links we have to do internally. There's the latest news kind of thing. That's what, I think we saw the homepage voice kind of latest news.
Yes, correct.
But since most people have heard it,
They're not gonna go beyond that.
no.
What's the plan for, we talked about, as we get into construction, maybe updating progress photos or putting a, a time lapse or something together.
Yeah, so do we want to, I would assume all the photos should come here first, right? And then someone would look through them and say, yeah, these are ones we should post, or is there something that we're gonna do?
And do it run a risk there of there being photos that are, should not be.
No,
viewable?
I actually prefer to take photos of anything that's, within our construction fence.
Yeah.
So, typically our guys, Nelson or George, one of our team members will go ahead and take photos and then communicate with somebody to get them posted.
Okay.
Yeah, because our staff photos every day, just for progress and documentation. Then for the monthly report, I'll select some photos to include in the report. I can select photos and this committee.
Devin, you would post those?
Yeah.
Yeah, posting
Yeah.
those?
Yeah.
So it probably best to have just Nelson, just communicate directly with Devin and
Yes,
maybe 2 weeks or something, or
Yeah.
send a couple
I
updated
think
photos.
that's more
and let them
sufficient.
post that.
How often would be? I think every 2 weeks, is more than sufficient.
Yeah.
It might be good to think of it in terms of milestones. There, laying a concrete.
Yeah.
Steel structure going up, things that are kind of, versus maybe nothing to see, but they tighter the timeline.
Yeah.
Because I was the timeline, that's why I was the timeline. I suggest make actually with photos.
Yeah.
So it shows the activity and. If it's every 2 weeks, great, but I don't think it might be 3 things going on in 1 month.
Yeah.
Versus 1 a month, it's just,
Do you
and having
also,
them cover it.
do you also have like a video camera? Because I've seen on other websites, they fast forward it and you see the building getting built.
Yeah,
Time
time
lapse.
lapse.
Yeah.
So
And so is that something, a feature we're gonna have? Or-
Yeah, we don't right now, we don't have security cameras or cameras set up on the site. Wasn't the plan at this point, but you can always look into that
Yeah,
and see.
just
That
because
would
I think
essentially
it's
full-
exciting to see it.
You need a fixed
What-
camera.
Kathleen, the way it works with.
Right.
Takes a photo.
Photos.
a day.
that-
And
it might take
weatherproof
2
and
or
all
3
that.
photos,
Right, that will-
Still shot. and you're seeing.
And that's what it
That's
is.
how
It's
you
not
do
an
it.
actual.
If you ever seen this old house, they do a great job. So they take 2 or 3 photos a day.
Okay.
It's not a video, because video.
From like the same place.
And then you can see the progression through just, that day, or, so, I mean, if you guys ever done that, the still photos, that's probably, then we'll show progression versus a video would involve a lot of editing. Versus a camera set up at a certain time, takes the picture every day, here's what it is, so it's in a fixed position.
Okay.
So it gets kind of an overview, you can put on a high pole and stuff, we've done that.
Yeah.
That'll create movement. It's like
Maybe
a
if we do
solid
something
movie.
on the 900 or something, that's facing.
Right, I was saying, yeah, just fix the point.
Yeah.
Sure, wireless.
You can put a timer on it, even if you can manage it.
You might be able to get some drone.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
From the edge.
Yeah.
So once school gets up and running, there might be stuff.
I think from like published photos, you want to be somewhat general. Don't want to have a lot of people in there. You don't ever want to, God forbid, get a guy without a hard hat on or something that's.
But that's why we like to kind of have the
I don't want to
control over that.
Right.
process.
Yeah, exactly, like
We
we don't want to just pop anything out there.
Not an automatic upload.
Yeah, 'cause you have to do it.
And there may be times, like I said, we have gentlemen in our office that take care of all our drone photos as well. And so if there's a time, every couple of months you go out there and we fly the drone and take a picture of the site, post that, show a video of that.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, so that would be one.
Take a drone photo, just have one, it goes up on the first 4 hours, gets a picture, comes down, or you have to put a pole up.
Yeah. All right, so is it something from a website perspective that we need to start setting up now? Centralized location for
Yeah, for sure.
all that?
Yeah, I think when Ira and I meet, I think we can kind of plan out where we want to keep that, which drop down we want to put that under.
And I think some of them would be highlighted on the whole page,
Right.
but now I don't think everything, so we'll probably keep it all.
I mean, they're gonna start next Monday.
Yeah.
With some dirt out there and things, so maybe a few days before that, or after that rather, but within, a few weeks here, we'll have some. Got to be able to post some photos that.
Yeah.
Some progress
Things
out
are
there, so.
happening.
Yeah, Meg, I have it in my first paragraph there saying, the planned communication timelines based on using the following kind of model: process, progress, production. Say process of task, progress of milestones, and productions, construction. So we think of those 3 Ps. It's always, I think the most important thing communities want to see is progress. And so you can time lapse it, so you see, it's not gonna, it doesn't really change anything, it just shows things are going on. And it gets people to the website.
Are we, from experience, from you guys, are we going to expect any kind of media reaction once people see activity? Yes, or not until,
Unless you call them.
okay,
mean,
I
it's-
just
it's
didn't know,
our
like,
Are you
experience.
gonna put a cornerstone down? Cornerstone, the date is,
Oh, with the
oh,
year,
and the building?
yeah, right on the- that's a
that's a milestone,
that's a
when you
milestone.
do that.
Yeah, we're saying, first is, where we the opening,
Yeah,
the opening time, where we started, like, that's doing that in September. So you have that, when all the steel structures up.
Yeah.
That's another one coming. So we can, you can break it down into, again, I think we'll look at the timeline chart, Meg.
Yeah.
It has those kind of milestones in it, so you don't have to, and then it's time for you guys to say, okay, we're gonna have some media activity here. Or something that gets posted to the website and drives that, and send a quick media announcement saying, yeah, you're welcome to come. There might be, are there times where, I know for security and safety, giving tours to media people, certain times, have you guys done that? So we should look at those milestones when we want to invite in the media, because they love that kind of stuff.
well, I know this just one, this has been fairly, just the name alone, Farmington High School. It's been fairly high profile for several reasons. So that's the only reason why I have a question, whether they would just see any activity and be like, okay, people will read it.
Yeah, as far as around Manchester, 2 or 3 times they've done a local article. The reporter comes on site, will walk the job site. But it has to be somebody that, one person, not general public, just doing the tour. But yeah, we've done that in the past, and it's works out well.
Yeah, well, because we started this thing, it's just as a kind of overview, is that, you know, Meg, Kathleen, and Catlin worked with them. You know, there's a certain expectation of constant communication at value. It's made a big difference in the community, and you know, Meg's done a great job steering that. So we have to think of this every day, that we want to vote positive, because it'll filter to other projects in the town. And so by always kind of anticipating, sharing, versus, you know, well, you'll see it when it's all done kind of thing, which is normal construction. We have to think of those milestones as opportunities to engage the community and deal with the neighborhood in a positive way. Because an expectation's been created because the amount of communication that's been coming out, which is very unusual, from my experience of the town doing, that somehow, not overdoing it, but at times where they feel that it's part of them, it's part of the community. So it's more of an attitude than a, you know, kind of a physical, like, okay, we're done with that, check the list. This will be done until actually the students are in the school. And that, you know, so I look at this where you got one of people, if anything, overdo a little bit more than under. Do you think, Wendy?
Well, I think the groundbreaking event is basically.
Yeah, groundbreaking is the big thing.
I think that's where we're gonna definitely have,
That one, we have to plan that one pretty soon about what we want to do with that.
and we have a journalist from the Valley Press that was down.
Now is it the current,
Now it's current, yeah.
which might help us because we always had a hard time getting anything in the current, so maybe that will help us. to
And we gotta get-
balance the current.
We got to get the TV crews, but we have to do it earlier in the day, before noon time. So think about doing this. You want to get television coverage. Because they have to go back and edit, get it on their news feeds.
What I'm thinking is, you know, that we dedicate one of these meetings specifically
Yeah.
to groundbreaking, rather than create a whole nother that people want to go to. And then we got to give ourselves a couple weeks to get some additional participation and make sure it gets up here. But why don't we do that? We'll pick a date and communicate that as such. We'll just mail out.
I do, because I teach digital video in my school district, I have some connections now.
Yeah.
With some local, news stations, so I can contact them.
Yeah, we should just coordinate, who knows who.
Yeah, I think that would help, because you know, I have a few disposable time comes of my connections, but I know I can help get some people out there.
Yeah, good.
We should for some coverage.
So Megan, do you want to do that sooner than later at the next meeting, or?
I'm wondering if we need to give a little bit more time. So maybe like, what about
Beginning
like
of
an
August?
August 3rd meeting?
Okay.
Just to give us enough time to think, yeah, because I know there's a couple of people that want to be involved. How does that feel to you guys? Is that,
I'm gonna be.
so we're saying communications meeting for August 3rd, our
Right.
dedicated agenda item will be
the groundbreaking?
planning for groundbreaking.
I'm gonna be in a swimming all day.
What is that, August 3rd? I'm actually away that week.
I think we're gonna have a hard time, no matter what we do, because we do the 3rd or we do the 17th.
Depends when you want to do it. I'm on.
Yeah, you and I are at the same.
We have no more meetings in July, correct? For this group, or do we do, are we doing July?
July 20th?
We have it on the schedule.
And that's what you said, you think we need more lead time to invite
I,
others.
maybe I could be wrong on that, but I'm just saying, like, you know, if we want to make sure, I know Alicia wants to be part of that, like, I know a few people that we need to pull into the conversation that showed interest, that we just give them enough lead time to react to that happening.
Well, maybe it's like two parts, Meg, that we should scope out what we want to do. And then in terms of who's going to be there, what we want to do, and then we can reach out for more specifics. So I think having a game plan would be first, and who you think should be, what we should be doing. And then be almost all ready by after Labor Day to have everything in place, even though it might be October to do this. So if we have to have change of plans and such, and you don't want to get when the weather gets cold.
I have no problems adding it to the agenda for the 20th. As a planning session, I mean, we can keep it on there for all, you know, I mean, if we want to do that
Yeah, standing agenda
as a
item.
standing agenda item.
Are we going to start reaching out to our leads and seeing, giving people time to react? Well,
leaves for,
Like, you know, if I contact the person that I know who lives there.
we just don't have a
Yeah,
date,
I don't
an
think
exact date for the event yet, right?
Yeah, I don't think we have to do an immediate contacts right now.
But we want to get other people who want to be involved. with
I
it,
think it's,
like,
what
outside
the,
of this group.
you know, what the event itself should be, look like. And then go into, okay, who's gonna do media contact? Oh, we wanna get this politician, maybe the governor will come. I think then we get into the people you wanna have there. So we have the plan to say what we wanna do there, and then ask ONG what they're able to contribute to it. I mean, I've been to ones where they have, you know, a bulldozer, which I find.
That's what we want to, arrange something there that,
Yeah, you know,
as a backdrop to the.
Something
and
visual.
I've been wondering, so they go on for hours and people get bored, so we have to, I think, make it exciting, interesting. How do we involve the kids here, some of the teachers? I mean, all that's planning stuff. And you think you gotta get Scott in over this too.
Yeah, I'm just trying to put a whole other set of things, right, my goal here. So October 3rd, why don't we add it to the agenda for October
August 3rd?
3rd? Or, excuse me, August 3rd, yes.
August 3rd?
And then why don't we, what about the 17th, if that's the full agenda?
I'm gonna be away, but I can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we'll have to just manage through.
The third I just won't because.
I create an overall outline, people can key off of.
Yeah.
If you want, and then, did you want to meet talking on the 20th, or have a meeting on the 20th about this? And then, no, that's in 2 weeks from now? Or did you want to wait for August 3rd?
It's up to you guys, and then you think we need to add it to the 20th.
What's gonna be on the agenda? Oh, for that, even like 30%.
You know, maybe just.
We've talked just as long about newsletters and things like that.
Yeah.
So it could just shift to the
Yeah.
events.
I don't start.
Yeah,
So,
at least-
I just want to have like one meeting, but that's the only topic, is my only goal. So we could add it on July 20th and August 3rd as topics, agenda topics. Right,
I'll try to.
and then the 17th is, that is the topic.
And would that be the one where we're,
Like, you know, that's all they were discussing.
So you want to get, so I'm next one, get to, like July 20th, we're talking about the overall plan.
Yeah, well, as soon as we can, we can start that, yeah. on the
And then
20th.
the 3rd is more detailed.
Yeah, wherever we end up.
So maybe I think on the third, I'd like to bring our marketing person in, just because she may have some ideas of.
That'd be great.
of,
Yeah, but just to
things
give
we
you an
can do.
idea from a planning perspective, like if we can just make sure, and if we need to adjust, that's fine too, but if that works, then we'll make sure that's part of the conversation with that day.
So then we will need a subcommittee. for this, right?
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
It's gonna end up being us anyway, so, and then just we'll add to,
That makes sense.
Yeah. rather than,
we're
Rather
planning
than
another
being
day.
right.
on our calendar.
correct.
I'm gonna be away.
Okay,
Oh, gotcha.
so I think we actually have our agenda set for the next meeting, as far as Q&A and.
Some initial.
And then once we have maybe the details on the 3rd, then because we're gonna get a newsletter to every household about the ground.
Yeah.
Going out after Labor Day. Have the date and kind of what's, what the agenda is gonna be.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think that timing will work just fine for us. All right, so let's move on to item B. So this is new business. So we need to have discussion on the SHS Good Neighbor flyer. And then the other item there is the Tulsa First Marketing Plan. But let's start with flyer and thoughts around that and timing and all that information.
So does this goes to abutting property owners or anyone
That's
on
the
the
goal,
streets?
or is
that are-
it? I'm not
Yeah, typically what we would do is we come up with something like this, and it's really just for the abutting property owners. And typically Nelson with our superintendent would kind of walk the neighborhood and hand out leaflets and say, listen, if there's any questions, you know, sometimes we used to just hand out business cards and we found out giving something a little bit more detailed was better. And we just go around and introduce ourselves to the people that are really literally abutting the property and let them know if there's any dust or noise or if you have any concerns about safety or here's the number, phone numbers, we're on the site, every day, please call us. And it's really kind of deflecting calls from going to town hall or going to, going directly to the school, and we're able to kind of handle things a little more quickly, and it seems to work
I think
quite
the
well.
walking the neighborhood and handing it will really resonate.
That's gonna make a good impression.
Really appreciate that.
What's the base?
Definitely.
How many neighbors?
I don't know, what's the assessment of how many people, how many people generally are talking about?
I mean,
Whatever
whatever
house,
house is
20 to 30.
there's no.
13 houses.
It's only 3 every streets. Basically, the houses that.
Is it both sides or just?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you gotta go to Johnny's house too.
The other side of the fence.
Bottom of the hill.
Technically in a butter.
Well, I guess maybe that's part of the
Yes, you
question.
can go to that other side, that side is more offset from.
Yeah, that too, yeah,
But
right.
you can,
I don't know.
I walk the neighborhood, we can, every house that links the property is a beautiful problem. Even the properties here in front of the school. There's 2 or 3 houses in front of town.
I would think from the front ones might be important just from construction.
They're gonna get a lot of
vehicles, right,
traffic.
would be there, absolutely. These neighbors that would be right up against the construction, right, area.
Maybe you don't need to do.
I don't know.
You don't want anyone to feel left.
How many, when we did this, how many neighbors?
Yeah, we'll be on the Facebook page that some we have got Highlands Facebook page, yes, there is one.
Was it just the butters or?
Some
We have
receive it and
some-
others don't.
Yeah.
That could be a problem.
I thought I heard it was just the street that's right along this edge.
We were gonna do the abutting properties.
Yeah, that's the focus,
Okay.
really the
Most
focus
people that
area.
live, I have a lot of friends that live there, they used to run there a lot, our track here. But like when they come past the track, people on this side, I mean, they recognize that there's games, and slow games, and, they're in mind, is what I heard. So I think it was this part of the neighborhood that I heard.
They're the closest to the building, to the project itself,
Right.
so.
Well, from what I recall, I think some of those houses turned too, a lot of them were on the market.
Yes.
So I don't know if that's a factor to reach.
I guess the question would
Neighbors
be,
or.
if we're expanding our, what kind of impact, based on the work that's happening with phase 1? What kind of impact as far as noise, dust, would that side of the neighborhood even see? Yeah,
Well, we are working right up to that property line, right? So, or to the school property line on that side.
Yeah.
Right, so,
They will be, it'll be all fenced off.
Yeah.
There will be machinery on that area that they won't be starting any work before 7 AM, which is now regulation. But they do have machinery out there at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning.
We have to let them know.
We're not cutting down any trees, right? I see that.
There is some tree cutting, that takes place to the new buffer, so there will be some tree clearing. So
Not as much as original plan, right? So the buffer won't, there won't be the,
And the trees are quite a little barrier there. Where they would probably are.
Yes. That was one of the reasons why we changed the approach.
right, the berm won't go up. But there'll be, a lot of the existing trees will remain.
yeah, some of them goes.
So I mean, I think if you're going door to door, makes a difference in terms of what this actually looks like. Feels like,
Right, and if someone's standing there and they're not technically the budding property owner, but you're walking, you might want to just not ignore them, but
Yeah,
that's,
right,
you'll
right.
get that kind of on the fly.
sure.
Kisses, how large is the neighborhood, how many houses?
I mean, if you count on the map, like, yeah.
A lot of times,
I
it's
think
too,
kind
but
of 13,
there's only
14.
half the people are at home, you knock on the door, nobody's there, so it's either you leave the flyer in the door, or you come back on another day and do another second round, right? So we may have to do it a few times to try to get to as many people as we can.
going door to door to the abutting properties. Then mailing it out to the entire Highlands.
Yeah, that makes
Also,
sense.
option, because
That's a good idea.
you physically can't
Right,
every house in Highland.
Yeah.
And we might as well run for office.
Yeah.
But that way, you won't have anybody that says, well, I didn't get the flyer.
right.
And it does have good information for the students as far as busing, bus loop, parent drop off. Information that, you could have a lot of retired folks that live in those houses, that the site logistics doesn't necessarily pertain to them, but as a mass mailer, would help. the
Well,
families that
you-
have it.
But the intent really here is just to get our phone numbers out there.
Yeah.
And just kind of introduce ourselves. That's the, yeah, the real, yeah, the logistics plan we have on here is a little hard to read.
It
To say
is,
the least,
yeah.
and if we're
Did
gonna
I
do
hear
something.
someone talk about this might not be what the graphic that actually stays, or this is the traffic pattern?
I think it's the updated one, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right. it was-
Yeah, I think you got two things going on here. One is, what to do with the neighbors, which is what this map is. And then kind of isolating the areas that can be affected, which you then can make a quick schematic about doing it. It's just too small to read. A lot of people are gonna do, and you're gonna get more calls. Please tell me what this is. And, and you're giving them a highly technical map that's used by, professionals. They just want to know, okay, where's this all coming over here? And you just take the schematic around it.
Or maybe a timeline.
And-
Oh, that's the phase.
Yeah, we have,
Yeah.
the
Or
timeline.
or do we just eliminate it altogether and just get it to be a one, just everything that's on the front page here.
Yeah, I mean, or you even can have a very quick schematic on this. Pretty easy. I mean, I outlined here.
I think you once suggested maybe using this map.
Yeah, that's the one that was going to be put in the Board of Ed. So people in every household in that neighborhood is going to get this newsletter.
I mean, you could put you live here. That makes sense.
And I think it's nice here, so you guys have access points to try to walk around, so
Right.
if I have a kid who's going to high school next year, I would want to know how is my kid gonna get access. Well, so I think that's important.
Right, but they're gonna get that as parents.
Correct. I think that's why you have to be
Yeah.
cautious
So
too,
you
how
don't
much
over-
are we, like, how
Not
much
that
are
it could
we
go-
buying?
Right, and my suggestion would be that to do the same type of map, but get that as a mail out to all of your students in August sometime, right? Because there will be different traffic patterns and bus
Yeah.
drop off and parent drop off locations, student parking. That's reflected in this plan, but may need to be a little bit more clear on where people will have, parking in.
Some people might want to specific.
I just think that there's too much wording that I certainly can't read, maybe. With some glasses, but I do think, it is very detailed and maybe we just don't need as much detail in it.
Like this stuff,
Yeah, all these little details, maybe
the
not.
big stuff.
You could just get rid of the upcoming activities.
Yeah, like, I don't
And
know
then
if
phase
it
one,
is-
site and building preparation, people
Yeah.
understand what that is. As site work, new building construction and existing building demolition. And just have those two things, just have those two big bold statements. Right, June's 20, that's now, right? You should actually make that July 2022. August.
Yeah.
Phase one, that just be in big bold, and phase two, October to April 25. This is really just saying, we're here, we're getting started.
Yeah,
And then maybe make that whole thing bigger.
Yep.
And then I know you guys have done this in the past where you guys had an owner's rep on site. We're not clerk of the works. So we won't be there every day, so I don't know that our number should be out front and center.
I just wanted to get phone calls. That's all.
Yes.
I'm
Switch
happy-
the order on that.
I'm happy to do whatever the town needs to do, but
Flip those.
I would flip those two at a minimum, yeah.
Yeah, I think the
Or
copy should be
just
written on top
take,
a little bit.
or just take us off altogether. I think to eliminate the confusion, it should all go to you guys once you take over the
Yeah.
site. And then you just distribute.
Yeah, like I said, we used to just walk around and hand out, business cards, and just found this to be a little bit more.
I think the really simple part of this is that they're not gonna know who you are, they don't know who Mark is. You have to put the logo of the building committee, and you can put, if you're the point person, it looks like, you're representing the building committee. because that's where I'm interested. It doesn't take away the contact person. It just focuses on, because I had no idea the neighbor. I thought, is this the building committee sending this to me? I always wear the hat of, I'm getting this stuff.
Yeah, right.
And you don't want more questions. This confused people. So having the logo saying, and if not, and if you're the point person to call up, you're working on behalf of the building committee.
I'd almost do it as an ONG logo document, right? ONG, construction manager of the New Farmington High School, I don't know, working for the building committee or something like that, maybe to address some of that, make it a little bit more in your face.
Chris, it should be the opposite. They don't care about ONG. They don't care about that. Oh, they say it's
But
coming
this is
from
an
the building
introduction.
committee. He's representing the building committee.
Yeah, but I've never, I understand what you're saying, but I've never had it. I've done a lot of these where we do neighborhood communications. I've never had it come from the building committee. It's always been from the CM. Or the
Now that
GC,
we're at the
whoever's on
phase
it.
where
Now
we
that
are.
we're at the phase of construction starting.
Yeah,
Right,
I
if
think
there's-
given what's going on with the neighbors, given that the building committee has credibility, I have to disagree with Chris, that this looks like it should come from the building committee. He can be the point person in terms of doing it. I'm just, from my doing a lot of these projects too.
Yeah.
Who's the owner of, yeah, they're the ones who are hired to do it. And of course, you don't want to get the calls, and you can still get the calls, but the idea that they're used to seeing a building committee logo and we're pulling it away from here. And
Say
people say,
partners
where's this
with.
coming from?
Yeah, partners with the building committee or something like
I
that.
think the logo is a good point and to have it tie in, but maybe that your partners with.
Yeah, I mean, you
In
can put on there,
partnership
yeah,
with-
this is they're representing us and we're the building committee, here's who you talk to, have a problem. None of that changes. It's just a matter of the kind of communication we've been doing. That's been going out in the neighborhoods and all over like that. We want people instantaneously know this is part of the building committee overview and that you folks are managing this aspect of it. And I think that would just eliminate calls. And saying, can someone tell me who are these people?
The color scheme already matches. And it already looks like it's from.
Yeah, well, that was actually done on purpose.
Yeah. So, I don't know, that kind of gives that vibe that this is coming out, it's already represented.
Does the building committee have a separate logo or is it?
They do, Devin can email you, it's that right there.
That's not even on here, so it almost looks like it is from OMG.
Right, and
That's
what I
actually-
was trying to say is that it should be coming from the building committee,
Nelson, should I?
that the ONG sort of underneath the building committee.
Yeah, all this is just keeping consistent quality communications. And that, where's it coming from? Who, and you're saying these are authorized agents on our behalf. We're going to be managing this. And that's what you have to say. And therefore you're going to talk to, over to Nelson, who's working on behalf of the building committee. That is part of our construction thing. It's just reversing it and saying this is what, not that you call you guys up, but that this keeps, we call it the graphic standard and communication standard, because we've created an expectations community that I've never seen in other ones. This community feels directly hearing from the building committee or the town. And then everyone doing the work is on their behalf. And I
So
know it
that's
sounds
what we
kind of,
would, we would just have our logo in it, say Farmington High School Building Committee and partnership with ONG. And they'd have their logo at the top, so our logo, Farmington Farmington Building Committee, Farmington High School Building Committee in partnership with ONG, our construction manager, that type of thing.
The
And-
point is to get
and
people
the-
to understand that.
Yeah,
The
in
relationship.
the
This is
first
ONG.
paragraph, it says, activities for the new Farmington High School on the existing athletic fields. And it's on the existing athletic fields and parking lot adjacent to your property, right? Isn't that? So you were thinking athletic fields because of the temporary parking lot? Is that why? Because it's the baseball field and then the bottom of the F hill, right? So is that why you were saying athletic fields? I was just trying to get it. This isn't the,
So right here.
it says
is
our
very
neighbor,
first.
we are beginning construction activities for the new Farmington High School on the existing athletic fields adjacent to your property,
I just-
that would make me think you're talking about both.
It was the baseball fields.
Well, I think they were
The
saying
basic
because
buildings.
the butters are up against the field.
Yeah, I think what Marcus is saying up there is that the temporary parking lot is next to some neighbors on the bottom of the hill
Right.
too. So they're gonna hear construction and maybe, wonder why is something happening? I thought that was all happening up on the hill. So even if you said athletic fields, because that is considered one of our fields that we do some, athletic activities down there. And the parking lot is where, the major work, right? A lot of the
Could you
work
cross
could
out,
be done.
could you cross out on the existing athletic fields? That way it just reads for the new Farmington High School adjacent to your property. Keep it more broad.
Yeah, sure, I think.
Yeah, you could just say on the Farmington High School campus, or
Yeah.
something like that, that you're adjacent to, and then, I think on the very bottom, my feedback would be, keeping our community members, employees and all our project stakeholders safe while working with the town where we live and work, something like that, because I think, starting with our community members, our students, you know what I mean, like, something like that.
Is this already a tagline that you use in your other? Oh,
No. It's just
So I would
all-
start with the community members, just. And then on phase 2, it says October 2022 to April 2025. And it's like site work, new building construction and demolition, and then it's like upcoming activities. So yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, if we issue it periodically, we would change the upcoming activities for
For,
structural steel.
Yeah.
Site improvements.
Yeah.
As we're going through those phases.
and then on the feel free to contact us, I would put ONG, and I would also have our website there. Just because that's another way of contacting us, that
Or for
people,
more information, careful on that, based on our when we respond. Like, I mean, we're not gonna get to, like, if they have an immediate concern, like, I would rather have them contact you directly versus, I'm not saying, I don't know how we
or just put
differentiate
like
that.
our website at the bottom.
Yes.
would it
Like,
QR
just-
code?
Because I would always want them to be looking at our website for updates.
Yes, yeah, that's the only
No, it
reason,
should
yeah, I
be,
didn't want, I don't want them to think you can get on at 3 in the morning and send a message to our website and
We check
somebody's gonna
our
respond.
website for updates and then have it flutter.
Yeah, sure.
And if-
Yeah, it's more for information or project updates, right?
Question. They can
We
contact.
create also a neighborhood, just as link, just for neighborhood, knowing it's got a little bit more detail if necessary. You can make this a separate page in there, or it can just be the home page update, either way.
I'm just concerned with it's a lot to update. Already.
And then we're gonna simplify the back, right? We'll simplify that. I don't know how you'll simplify maybe not.
Can you just
Not any
X out
wording,
these
I don't know.
boxes?
But
Like,
I
to-
definitely think the green is the fencing, right?
Yes.
So you'd want to identify that the green is security fencing, safety and security fencing. For it, and I think Ira, you had some other items you were.
Yeah, and I'll show you the outline, I think, like a simple one here. One is the fence, what kind of fence and the height? That's come up, believe it or not, it's important, it's just those temporary things to knock over. This is partly in the ground. I know it's a little detailed, just say
It's
Permanent
actually on
fencing, you
here.
can't-
if I can read it.
and gates or whatever it is. The other is noise abatement. That there'll be noise going on at certain times, and it's, will stop at a certain time. That's always an issue, because there will be noise. Not now, but down the road, so, You want to stay-
Hours
Actually,
of
work
operation.
hours, hours of operation or something like that.
yeah,
It's like
and then,
hours of such.
and hours of operation, so they know that to minimize discomfort and noise, this is the only hours we operate. Safety and lighting at nighttime, neighbors are gonna be concerned, could someone jump the fence, because they're gonna get in there, and the other is security. Those are the things that always come up from my projects, working school projects, those 4 areas, and security and safety are really much more prevalent today. You know,
Well,
Kids get in
typically,
there,
don't-
you know,
yeah.
they typically smoke a joint,
Yeah, we typically wouldn't advertise that.
Huh?
We wouldn't locate cameras on here or anything
Try
like that.
not to, because
I
then
think
it
you just
becomes
say
public.
safety and security fencing.
Yes,
That's
yeah, those say safety,
That's-
security and
That's
fencing.
all you're gonna know.
So that's, just, if I was a neighbor, I'd want to know that.
Okay, so let's take another shot at it and then send out another draft and.
So for project timeline, maybe anticipation was for the kids to go in 2024, right?
Yes, when you have demolition.
So I just, for phase two, I see October 2022 to April 2025, I'm just, thinking it, different lines of like, well, projects that would be done.
I think it's been pushed out.
Right, so I'm just wondering if there might be some sort of communication that the anticipation is that the kids will be moving into the new building in the fall of 2024.
High school, occupancy or something like that.
Because I see that phase two also includes like the demolition and I see where that comes in, but I'm just, that's a common question I get a lot. when
I don't even know if
going
you need
in.
to put it at spacing, honestly, you just list.
The date.
You do, site and building prep is one line item, June to August. Building new site work, new building construction, year to year, and then. We turn over occupancy on this day, and then existing building demolition and athletic fields, like just four listed items as a schedule. I know you were saying Nelson, that you kind of tend to do this periodically and giving updated activities. I don't know that if that's the case, then it would be very different. But maybe for this first one, it's just here's the big picture, here's the schedule. Here's the overall schedule. We're here, we're gonna be your neighbors in construction from now until April of 2025. We want to introduce ourselves. And, these are our priorities. Our four basic priorities we're talking about, safety and security, site lighting.
I know we use specific wording for that because we always know construction can change, so we say either tentative date.
Yeah, our
or-
anticipated
Like,
start.
anticipated.
finishing.
Wording like
It's
that.
basically this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that,
Remember,
anticipated.
it's this chart. It's
Yeah.
one chart. There's a couple of things in there that don't, I don't think we need to
Keep it the
highlight the
same.
groundbreaking, like in this.
Sure,
individual,
right.
But I think it's this version, so we're staying consistent.
Yeah. So they-
Do you have a copy of this?
Take one.
Was that-
It's on the,
Nelson, did you just throw yours, did you just throw yours away?
It's probably on the website, but just so you have it for your notes.
Yeah, you say so let everybody.
Yeah, we tweaked that quite a bit.
yeah, it was some of that particular wording around it. And I don't even think we need to say in there anymore as of, it's just anticipated timeline. And we'll just keep going and updating as appropriate, but I think the more we can be consistent on that.
I think maybe
And I don't
also-
even have a problem with this being reproduced.
Excuse me?
This being reproduced on this.
It's the
The top, well, we use the top of the newsletter, which introduces us, same thing, consistency, something they're used to seeing.
That's what you're used to saying.
And then, but including the, in partnership with OG and then everything we just talked about, something like that.
Evan, do you have that in PDF?
They say, you have that,
You have this header.
I don't know, I.
Yeah, I-
Yeah.
Give you my card. give you your
That
card, I'll
shows
give you
our
all the
website, that does all the things we just talked about, which is the website, an official document, building committee, give them the logo, we have a little picture up here, this would change, obviously, with the title, like, I don't even need anything there, but
Yeah, that's,
Just a suggestion.
that's what the community's been getting, that's what they're used to seeing. Okay, and that's pointed out to them many, many times over the last couple of years. probably what it's getting at. I want to see identified, this is coming. Okay.
What's the timeline for this?
Well, that's a good question, because we are going to be rolling some equipment on site Monday. And really, the whole idea was to try to get out there and you know, introduce ourselves to the neighbors. Now, again, we can still do that, and just hand out business cards at this point.
I mean, if you wanted to
Yeah.
send it and, you know, send it to us, and if there's a way of that, you know, we can edit, I'd be happy to do that, you know, so that you can email it out.
Kind of like an email.
I'll unflatten the document.
Yeah,
If you guys give me a digital copy, I can put it on the Highlands Facebook page.
yeah.
Oh, there you go.
That would be,
When it's done.
yeah, because there's like 300 of us in the
Oh,
neighborhood, so.
that's perfect.
Perfect,
And
yeah.
if digital document comes to everyone.
Yeah.
That saves the problem of printing.
They were gonna walk, Johnny, just to catch up and do the abutting property owners, but then do maybe a mailing of the product on Facebook as we know. And then it lives there, people that refer to it.
300 homes.
I think so, yeah. At least people on there, oh, yeah, the Highlands is pretty big. Yeah, yeah, we're gonna walk the butters.
You
Maybe
said
the
just
20 houses that are
people-
right up against the fence line. Yeah, I mean, if you put it on the Facebook page, you're gonna get, I'll get more activity out of that than you will out of 4 hours walking. Because that'll just kind of push it out there, this is what's going on. And it doesn't, it could be the newsletter with a small description of bullet points of what you guys want to portray. And if I put it out there, you know, it's like I said, it's a closed group, so it's just the neighborhood.
You guys might need to mail it to them, because there are people, I know from my neighborhood Facebook page, not everybody's on Facebook. And
Oh, yeah, yeah,
it's
it's
an
an
addition,
addition.
we have to put it in their mailbox.
And I think the face-to-face of the abutting property owners, that meeting,
I think
those
it
talks
talks
are.
Social media, mailings, and.
Like he said, it's 98 properties.
I would say that.
All the way around.
All the way around. There's basically all of the woods. I was on a partial.
All right, still leaves us on the timing.
So
thing.
who should I send it directly?
To me. And then you're gonna have availability and then.
I see a Michael Scott. Oh, that's you?
Yeah, thank you.
We do have a motion on our agenda to approve it, but I think we can table that.
That's about
And we get that one.
I don't care really.
Did you vote to
We do a digital.
pending
So.
or
You guys let me know.
Devin, can I do that?
Yeah, with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, we would give consensus to
Yeah, we'll
approve,
we'll take
your updated or version of the document.
Maybe you want to see before.
Or vote for members, something like that, yeah, I think that's fine.
If you guys let me know, if you guys let me know when you're walking too, if I can spare an hour, I'll go with that. No, I know.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll share that too.
Yeah. All right, so what do I say then?
So Johnny's offering to walk, he's got an hour to join you guys, just let me know when you're doing it, if I don't have appointments and stuff, I'd be happy to go with it.
Yeah.
Recommended changes. Okay. You okay with that?
That would be joined with myself. Hours. Perfect.
I want to do the right thing. Yeah.
Good.
All right,
Nice to
so
see you in that room.
I think since I know we have some work to do and we're gonna do some additional communications back and forth, but I think what we're gonna do is, or actually, I will ask for a motion to approve the FHS that they require with the recommended changes that we will see submitted later. Motion. I will second. Any conversation? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, so that motion carries. Is that sufficient? Will that work?
That works for me.
Just want to make sure we cover that appropriately. So we'll continue to work on that. We got a lot of good feedback, so that's awesome. So as soon as we can get that, that would be great. One last item is to review the updated communications plan from Tall Timbers Marketing. Can we push this one
For next month.
to next meeting? Is that possible? Just because I've got the entire.
Yeah, that's fine. Just Yeah, it's just pro forma if you want.
Okay,
If you want to do it then.
yeah, there's no approval required, right? Or
No.
anything, we're
This is just ongoing from the original contract. Just give me a heads up. The
Yep.
only thing I'm recommending is we had a third newsletter.
Okay.
That's the only thing we do.
So since I didn't require a motion there anyways, right? So do any, did you anything cut this agenda item? Or we're good to go?
Yep.
All right, so we'll move that agenda item to our next meeting for conversation. So could I get a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
I will second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we will adjourn at 5:04.